Well, Donald Trump has gone off the rails again on a reporter who asks him about the Epstein files. We're going to get into that, but first, Elon Musk not shying away from the conversation on Twitter. He says Bannon is in the Epstein files. So we know the Epstein files exist. The question is there a witness list? Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice now say there isn't. And then folks are asking the honest questions, which is, how is there no list if Ghislaine is behind bars, if there's hundreds, if not thousands of victims? How is there no list? Here's what Elon Musk had previously said on Joe Rogan, which he retweeted today. Have a listen.
But yeah, I think the public will be rightly frustrated if no one is prosecuted for the Epstein client list, no one at all. Which, no one, at least, I don't know, the top 5 or something, like some number. There should at least be an attempted prosecution of the worst offenders.
Well, particularly if Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail for sex trafficking.
Yes.
Because, trafficking
that means sex
to
trafficking
who?
occurred.
Right. So they're asking all the right questions. Everyone's asking the same questions, which is, how is she behind jail? They have enough evidence to put her behind jail, but none of these Johns or any of the other people that would be associated. And folks, this is a big deal. They're saying, the rumors are, well, it's so messy. It could be judges. Who the hell cares? This is like when there's a giant brawl happening on a baseball field and the umps just have to pull everybody off each other. Then they review the footage and start throwing people out one at a time, find out who's involved in this and run them through the legal system. Everyone's entitled to, innocence till proven guilty. But at the same time, the fact that nobody publicly has been accused when they say they've got 10,000 hours of this. I mean, here's a clip from just a few months ago, J.D. Vance on Theo Vaughn saying, let's share the list.
Release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
And by the way, if they knew there wasn't a list all along, then how monstrous are they to rile up their base to talk about, like, when you elect me, we're going to share the list. And then we find out they share a couple binders full of redacted information. Well, here we have a reporter asking the question about Epstein. Trump interrupts Pam Bondi to basically say, why are we still talking about this?
To you on that.
And hold on, before I get to that, this clip right here is Pam Bondi trying to discuss why there was a missing minute in the security footage. They showed the security footage of Epstein, and very clearly it jumps from 11:58 to midnight, and they skip 11:59. Here's her response. It doesn't really. Is this believable to anybody?
And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter.
So if they have evidence showing he committed suicide, why haven't they shared that with anybody? I mean, my brain is broken. I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, but either Pam Bondi is the dumbest person alive or she thinks we're the dumbest.
And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And
there it is. I guess it's a Y2K issue is what they're saying. Yeah, it's the videos from the software's from 1999. Somehow this is Bill Clinton's fault. And here she is, discussing the fact that she was called out for saying she had the file on her folder and she was ready to drop it, and now the file doesn't exist.
First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that.
And that's the question people are asking is he an agent working for Mossad, the CIA, the Israeli version of the CIA? And I mean, look, it makes sense if he was activated as some sort of agent and he gets people to do these super illegal acts and has them on video, knowing that if he shares the video, it ruins their careers and then people are compromised. I mean, it sounds very Bourne Identity, but this stuff exists at such a high stake level. And for them to ask point blank, is he an agent? And see, I mean, how do they know so little about this guy that was clearly one of the biggest, most investigated people out there?
And the minute missing from the video.
All right, so then she gets into the minute video part. Well, here's Trump berating a reporter as they were asked, rightfully so, about the biggest conspiracy that is currently going on in our country.
Sure. Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the native staff?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, I mean, we all are. The whole internet is. Does Donald Trump not go online?
This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration. But
you know what's a desecration is the victims that haven't had their stories told and the justice that hasn't been met for them. How about that desecration? So they're saying, all right, all that video that they found, turns out it was just, illegal child, but what about all the cameras that, as far as the reporting I've heard is that they had at Epstein's home and on his island, they had cameras and he was recording people committing these crimes. So none of it adds up. None of it adds up. All right, let's shift to Trump's agriculture secretary, implying that farmers who are deported will be replaced with Medicare recipients. Well, that's, first of all, never going to happen, but have a listen.
I can't underscore enough. There will be no amnesty. The mass deportations continue, but in a strategic way, and we move the workforce towards automation and 100% American participation, which again, with 34 million people, able-bodied adults on Medicaid, we should be able to do that fairly quickly.
34 million able-bodied adults on Medicaid. And what she's saying is we can just take them and have them pick, agriculture and all the farming that's going on. Which, by the way, I mean, there may be people that can work jobs and maybe their local community that doesn't have jobs. But this idea, and this goes back to the welfare queen idea that they used to kind of like throw in people's face, which honestly broke a whole generation. All of our parents, I mean, so many people are broke. Well, why don't they just get a job? Not realizing that some people can't work because of whatever physical ailments they have, illnesses, or that they're, have a child that's got an illness, an ailment, or some sort of disability. I mean, this exists out there. And there's, like someone said, so people with dementia and disabilities will be picking our crops. Here is a video that I just found unbelievable when you watch this. Here is this video that shows somebody picking these crops. And first of all, it's backbreaking work. And I think it would be better if some of this work could be automated, but that's kind of probably a long way away. Mm-hmm. So here he is picking, what is he picking? Radishes. The dude's working, and by the way, these either migrant workers, some cases undocumented workers, people working in agriculture, it's a backbreaking job. This man was proud to have worked in America's fields for 49 years. And this is Efren. He spends 8 to 10 hours a day on his knees picking and sorting the radishes into small bunches to fill dozens of crates a day. Look, I think there should be better protections for all workers. I am going so far in the other direction. They want to wipe out all of these immigrants and undocumented workers. I don't know many scenarios where these folks are stealing your jobs. I just don't. I think there should be a better system where they're working, paying taxes, have the right protections, and obviously moving forward, do a better job at border security and things like that. But this idea that we need to round these people up and then folks that are on Medicaid are just going to move to the Central Valley and do this work, what's going to happen is as they sort of continue, they say strategically, but are they strategically, and by the way, everywhere that ICE is going to find illegal immigrants is at job sites, right? They're going to farms. They're going to Home Depot. They're going to different places where, the kitchens of different restaurants where they can find these workers. These are people that are doing jobs, in most cases, either paying taxes or contributing to the economy by, providing food and everything else that goes into just basic needs. So it's absolutely ridiculous to see this play out. Now, here's something very scary. And if this doesn't make you scared because you don't live in Los Angeles and this is too far-fetched to put yourself in this person's shoes. Imagine this. The CBP sector chief, Greg Bovino, says to LA residents, "We don't work for Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles. Get used to us." So are they planning to have more martial law, more than they already have? This is absolutely frightening.
The federal government is not leaving LA. I don't work for Karen Bass. The federal government doesn't work for Karen Bass. We're going to be here till that mission's accomplished, as I said, and better get used to us now because this is going to be normal very soon.
How frightening is that, folks? This is going to be normal pretty soon. And again, what is the mission? Masked militia coming in and just flipping cities upside down and shaking away every illegal immigrant? I mean, like I said, we need reform, but this ain't it. Here is a response by somebody in Los Angeles saying this is an authoritarian fascist takeover.
Stand up and organize in your communities. This is the cutting edge of the authoritarian fascist takeover of America. This is it. Now, do you stand and fight for what you believe? Your silence will not save you.
Wow. Well, we certainly won't be silent. First, they're going to come for violent criminals, which everyone said, fine, take away. If there are violent people, run them through the judicial system and take them away. Now what we're finding out is Governor DeSantis in Florida wants to deputize and will be deputizing some military officers to become judges so that they can quickly expedite the deportation process. Is that who you want as a judge? If you had to go to trial for something you think you're innocent in, would you want some random military officer who was just deputized as a judge? Or would you want someone who has vowed to uphold the Constitution, who's worked in the system for years? Again, I've said this over and over. I think we need to live in a society where we spend more money on immigration judges and really beef up the process to make sure that people aren't waiting in limbo if they are processed as an asylum seeker or if they're deported because of X, Y, and Z. So be it. But this way that they're going about it is inhumane. It's inhumane. And by the way, it's really not that big of an issue as far as these aren't, for the most part, these aren't people that have ever committed a crime whatsoever. And folks will say, well, the crime is being here. So who's next? Is it naturalized citizens? And then who's next after that? Well, that's it for me. We're out of time. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, share with a friend. We go live with the podcast every morning and every afternoon. Bite-sized content for your rush hour ride home. We'll see you in the morning. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.